This is our 2015 Dodge Challenger RT test car in the very cool color of Sublime. For 2015 it's been restyled, and you'll notice the front end has been changed. It's got a different grille, bumpers, and the styling looks really aggressive. It brings to mind the early 70s version. This one has a optional hood decal, hood stripes. Very cool looking. And when you see this car, I mean, it just looks great. It brings to mind, just like the Challenger did when they brought it back in '09, it brings to mind the original from the 70s with a lot of the styling cues. And yet it also looks modern too. From the back, they've changed the styling in the tail lights. Instead of wall-to-wall, they're now individuals in their LEDs. It looks really, really good at nighttime. They light up. You can see the exhaust. This has very large 20-inch tires and wheels. Performance brakes. Drives really great. I like the retro touch of the fuel filler. And let's look under the hood. There's several different engine options in the Challenger this year. The base cars have a V6, and this is the first step up V8, which is a 5.7 liter. And it has about 375 horsepower. This model has the Tremec 6-speed manual gearbox, and of course it's a Hemi. Performance, needless to say, I mean, why do you have to ask? It's a great performing car. It runs just really great. It's just an absolute joy to drive. And yes, there are 2 more levels up at least of larger V8 engines, and the notorious Hellcat is new this year as well, that has over 700 horsepower. But when you look at this car, you go, you know, this looks like dynamite. It's a beautiful car. It's got great performance, and it's way more affordable than the top line models. So maybe it's something you'd want to put on your shopping list for sure. Let's go inside now. The dash was restyled this year too, and it's definitely an improvement. It's got more soft touch materials, and the design is really nice. We've got the central gauge cluster, which has a display in between, and all the steering wheel controls to operate various functions. Push button start. Here's our 6-speed gearbox and the HVAC system and some other features we'll look at in a moment. Let me move the seat a little bit and start her up. Press clutch pedal and push button to start. Thank you. There's that lovely rumpa-rumpa sound that everybody loves. Now, there's several different things you can do with the central instrument cluster, and it's controlled by this little button on the steering wheel here. When you press it, we've got, this is the digital odometer display, and if you press it, you're able to select different functions. This is screen setup, messages, audio, shows you where we are with the audio, trip information. We haven't gone very far. We've averaged about 13 mpg. which for lead-foot drivers like us is actually pretty good. And this is fuel economy, performance. Now, performance, you can actually do several different things. It has launch timers, it has all kinds of neat functions that you can control. Let's go over here to the center stack. And down here, if you press this little button, can you see it right here? It says Super Track Pack. If you press that, the gauge, the center display changes to performance control. Now what this is all about, you can activate a thing which is called the launch mode, and they do recommend you do this in off-road situations like a drag strip or some off-road area that's away from the public for safety. And when you activate the launch mode, follow instructions in cluster to launch. To launch, press clutch and quickly apply the throttle. Basically, this is a performance thing. When you want to do, 0 to 60, they used to call them smoky burnouts or melters or that kind of thing. Again, for off-road driving. And I'm going to cancel it here because obviously we're not going to do it. We're in a parking lot. And there's different ways you can set it up too. Because this model is the stick shift, you can vary the RPM that you want to use for your launch control. I think the default setting is 2500, so you can change it to whatever RPM you want it, to go flying at. And it's just a real handy thing. They have all kinds of different features and functionalities on this screen. Here's drive mode setup. If you look at the drive mode, you're able to control various functions. Put it basically the way that you want it to be. And let's look at sport mode setup. Here's engine traction control and steering. If you had the automatic transmission version, you would be able to actually control the gearbox as well, and you can't do that because this is a stick shift. And you can see engine, it says sport or normal, traction control, sport or normal, steering, sport comfort, and normal has 3 settings. So this center display, this is, I think it's called the 8.4, if I'm not mistaken, is a very, very bright, easy to read display. You can read it really well in the day or in the night. And the center gauge cluster is very easy to read too, and it's also attractive. It's great to look at. And in this day and age of connectivity, there's all sorts of different things you can do as well. If you pair your cell phone, and I can't do that because I'm doing this video with my phone, you can connect a device. This also has controls for various functions of the vehicle and settings for different things, even like dimming the mirror. We have heated and ventilated seats in this one, which is very nice, almost like a luxury car. Here's settings. You can see all the different things that you can change on the screen. Climate control, you can do all the climate control functions from here. Navigation, we have the optional navigation system, the system that is embedded within the infotainment system. And you can, of course, either view a map or ask for instructions, do whatever you want to do. Here's where we're at right now. We're at the beautiful Terranea Resort in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. And it has a phone setting. Our phone is not paired. And then we have apps, and there's apps, a wide variety of apps already installed in here. And you could always do more from your phone. Travel Link is kind of a neat function. This is Sirius XM Travel Link, and you can look at fuel prices, weather, movie listings, sports, all kinds of neat stuff. And for example, let's try fuel prices and see what it says. These are the local gas stations and the fuel prices, which have come down quite a bit, and it makes people who like muscle cars very, very happy, because now gas is way more affordable than it has been in quite some time. Then you can go back and select a whole bunch of other things as well, weather map, etc. So overall, Dodge has done a spectacular job refreshing the Challenger for 2015. This model has a really supportive bucket seats. It's in a nice two-tone shade. It also has the optional sunroof, and like I said, we've got the 6-speed manual gearbox. And if you're in the market for a muscle car, you know, the three big ones most people think of are the Camaro, the Mustang, and the Challenger. And the Mustang is also new this year. The Challenger is not totally new, but they've done enough things to it to definitely put it on our top 3 list of top muscle cars. And one thing I'll tell you about the Challenger when you drive it, because we spent a week in the Camaro and we also drove the Mustang for a brief period of one day. One thing I'll tell you is the Challenger is larger than those cars. It's wider. It reminds me of a mid-size car, and you've got more space inside. So if you find the Mustang and Camaro are just too small for you, check out the Challenger. And prices, the V6 models are very affordable. If you want to get into a V8, this one with all of the features and extra features that it has on it, if I'm not mistaken, is right about $38,000, which is really quite attractive if you go out and shop around and see, you know, muscle cars, what you can get. And I don't even want to tell you how much the Hellcat goes for, the top-line Challenger with over 700 horsepower. But it's not quite twice as much as this, but it's almost twice as much as this. So do you really need that many horsepower? No, but of course, a lot of people will want it. And those who can't have it can get into this great Challenger for less than $40,000 with a lot of the features and functions that I've shown you and more that I don't have time to show you. So thank you so much for joining us in the 2015 Dodge Challenger RT. And for our full review, go to CarNichiWa.com. Thanks again for joining us in the 2015 Dodge Challenger. Bye now.